What's up, boys? Doing another one of these because I got 22 comments on the last one, which is the most yet. Again, I appreciate the participation. It makes these a lot more fun for me. And once again, if you have any questions you would like my opinion on, put them in the comments of this one, and I will answer them next time. I prefer this way a lot more because then I can get through all of them, even the short answers. Yeah, it's nice. I feel like I'm being generally helpful, which is cool. All right, so just kind of getting into the questions. Pretty wide variety. I thought there were less good ones last time, so hopefully there's more good ones this time to keep it a little bit more interesting. Is being lean, such as 12%, helpful for powerlifting for a younger person, such as 16 as my brother? Was overweight and now has abs. He wants to maintain his abs. Any advice for him to gain strength in the long run? By the way, your advice was helpful for my lifting. Thank you. You're welcome. That's an interesting one. Generally speaking, I think keeping your body fat percentage down is actually a good thing, because when you gain weight at a lower body fat percentage, your nutrient partitioning is better, and long story short, that means the weight you gain is more likely to be muscle than it is fat when you compare it to if you are at 20+% body fat. That kind of leads to the approach to bulking where you start your bulks around 12% and end them around 16 and then try to strip off the fat. Never going really past that upper teens limit, because then your nutrient partitioning and your hormonal profile are going to get worse. So I wouldn't say it's inherently helpful for being stronger to be lean, but it's helpful for gaining muscle mass. So I hope that helps your brother. Basically, you could tell him to bulk to the point of starting to lose his abs, do a small cut, but really you want to make sure that he doesn't stay light only for the aesthetic reasons. You want to make sure he's accruing muscle mass with time. I think that's a big mistake a lot of young guys make, is they want to look good always, and they really hold back their ability to gain muscle and be stronger in the long run due to that. How would you recommend coming back into training after quarantine? Drop back the numbers. I would start by putting in some volume, and I would build upward. I believe that you're going to be able to at least duplicate your old maximums within like one reasonable little training period. So I wouldn't stress too much about that. Just don't try to go straight back into heavy stuff. It can be as complicated as you want to make it. There's a lot of good information from I think Sean Noriega and Candido put out some good stuff about how to go back into training. So if you're more technically oriented, I would go watch those. If you're not, start light, go heavier with time. Be patient. Is there a waiting list for your coaching, and do you have a deal for the whole year? No, I don't have a whole year deal. It's already as cheap as I can possibly make it. I still have to pay my rent. And I wouldn't say there's a waiting list because I'm not taking anyone until I'm done with school. Hope that answers your question. Do you think butt wink in the squat is a serious problem? Should it be addressed ASAP, or will it fix itself down the road? I don't think it's inherently dangerous. I think if you're getting banged up, then dial it back and work on it. But there are imaging of like high level squatters that show that there is some degree of spinal flexion going on in the squat, even when you have what most people would consider really proficient technique. So it's not inherently bad, but reducing it is probably a worthwhile thing. So really dialing in your bracing and your tension in your hips will go a very long way. But I think it's just like knee cave. I don't think it's as immediately dangerous as people think. Assuming you have reasonable load selection, you're prepared for those loads, your knee isn't going to explode, nor is your back. So I wouldn't be coming into your training session scared, but I think both of those are probably indicative of like biomechanical inefficiencies. So your lifts will go up by fixing those. So the way I think about it is you want to fix them not because you're terrified of injury, but you want to fix them because fixing them will allow you to lift more weight. I don't know if it'll fix itself. I think you're going to need to put conscious effort into your bracing, spread the floor a little better, and fiddle with your stance. I hope that helps. When you finish your last semester of college, December, I'd like to be coached by you. Plus, what are you studying in college? I am an exercise physiology major. I may or may not be doing my apps to physical therapy school soon. Probably gonna take some time off though first because I'm burnt as fuck on school. Sorry to clog up your comments. Not a question, but thank you for answering my comment. I appreciate it. I learned a lot from these videos, and I'm sure a lot of people do. I hope so. I enjoy doing them, so hopefully people continue staying engaged because I really do enjoy making these. Do you believe that sticking points can be changed without changing your technique? For example, a round back deadlifter change a sticking point from lockout to somewhere else without a technique change. Me and Max actually talked about this one because that's a very complicated one. On paper, yes, but I don't see it in practical application, because that's kind of the nature. Let's say a round back deadlift. You are giving up your positions off the floor for greater speed up to lockout, and in exchange for a worse lockout. That's just kind of the nature of the technique you're using. Just like how it's very rare for a technically proficient wide grip bencher to ever miss at a lockout, or a close grip bencher to miss off the chest. Part of it is just your technique lending itself to a certain sticking point, and that's just kind of comes with the technique. And oftentimes when you remedy that weakness, like if I put that much work into my triceps, your technique might actually change just due to your strength because you want to utilize that new strength better. So it might come with a technique change for a different reason. You just notice, when I put my feet wider, it feels better and better. Yeah, I don't know. It's a very complicated question. I think it comes down to the individual, but very rarely will you see no changes in technique. When will you compete in a powerlifting meet? I don't know. When I feel over-prepared to do 2K, I'm going to go and sandbag 2K. What is your favorite of the big three, and why is it your favorite? Well, right now, bench, because it's going good. Usually squat, but my knee hurts. Do you ever see yourself doing strongman, or do you plan to stick to powerlifting? I would prefer to do strongman. I think it looks cooler. I plan on doing it, yeah. No gym for a while due to quarantine. I want to go back and train balls to low intensity. Tips on how hard, fast I should push when I go back into the gym. You push yourself pretty hard, just don't start at really high percentages and don't push past the point of technical breakdown. Don't shoot for all-time rep PRs on your first session in, but you can work pretty hard. I think as long as you standardize your form and call a set failed when your form begins to break down, you can push yourself pretty hard. What you feel that recovery tools like foam rollers and massage guns have a place in recovery, or are they a waste of time for the most part? I would say they're a waste of time for the most part. I'd say that those are like, if any effect, which the science really doesn't seem to validate, those are just like the most minor thing. I think that people do them because they're easy compared to being really consistent with a sleep and nutrition schedule and managing your load selection well. Yeah, I'm just going to say that in the grand scheme of things, those are not going to be the make or break for whether you recover between two sessions. It's going to be your habits as well as how you're training. So if you're not recovering, dial in your sleep, dial in your nutrition, and if you're still not recovering, fuck a foam roller. You need to adjust your volume per session. Hope that helps. That's something I've done. I own a fucking massage gun. I own a foam roller. I've tried it all. And like a lot of good level lifters, I'm going to tell you guys that like maybe try to skip this step in the process. It's just not... It's not the fix that you think it's going to be. Can you give us a rundown of what you eat on a daily basis? How many meals? What times do you usually eat them? How much calories? And how much protein per day? And what time of day do you like to train? Okay, well, I like to train about noon because the gym is empty and I have very limited social skills. So talking to people isn't exactly my strong suit, and I prefer to just focus on my training. So noon works pretty well for me because it's enough time to get 2 meals in prior to training. Especially on pressing days, I find I perform a little bit better if I can get 2 meals in me rather than 1. After that, the effects seem to be marginal. That's just for me, though. How many calories and how much protein in a day? Most days I intake about 5,000 calories and about 300 grams of protein. Can you give us a rundown of what you eat on a daily basis? Okay, well, I eat 5 meals. The base for each meal is going to be rice and then some sort of protein source, whether it be beef, salmon, or chicken. I try to have a fruit or veggie with each meal. I try to have milk with at least 3 of my meals. I'll walk you through what I ate today. I woke up, I ate a bowl of 120 grams of rice, uncooked weight, 4.5 ounces of beef as my smallest meal of the day because I have no appetite when I wake up, and I drank some coconut water. Waited about 2.5 hours, ate 150 grams of uncooked weight of rice, and 6 ounces of beef, so on and so forth, repeat, and basically the adjunct stuff. So I have like fruits and veggies around my training, or I have usually put my fruit around my training and my veggies separately. But that's kind of what it looks like. I could make a video on that at some point. I wouldn't mind giving the specifics of my diet. It's not anything secret or anything. Yeah, I'll probably put that on my videos to make list. I'll do that at some point. Underhand or overhand for barbell rows, or is opting to do rows with dumbbells better? Also, does Max actually eat McDonald's frequently, and what is his go-to order? Okay, so going through whatever you prefer. One isn't automatically better than the other. Whichever one you feel better doing is the best, whether it be dumbbells, overhand, underhand. It's all the same shit at the end of the day, so it's what you prefer. Yes, Max eats McDonald's probably 2 or 3 times a week on average, but when he's rich, it's like every day. And his usual order is 3 McChickens and 3 McDoubles. He told me specifically what it was, so I didn't fuck up telling you what his order was. Best recovery tips besides the obvious: sleep, nutrition, good programming. They suck. Everything other than that sucks. That's like saying best other than the good ones. Keep your NEAT high. I don't know if you'd consider that an obvious one, because I tell you it all the time, but staying moving, keeping your steps per day relatively high, that would be the only one that you didn't mention as obvious that actually matters. Oh, and warming up well. I think that goes a really long way. Do you do cardio? Why or why not? Can it help recovery of low intensity? Does high intensity cardio hurt recovery from heavy lifting? Yes, I do cardio. I do it every day. I do a mix of steady state and HIIT depending on where my energy levels are at. Kind of varies with the block. Can it help with recovery if low intensity? Yeah, it's going to stimulate blood flow, and also being more aerobically fit is going to just increase your recovery time or improve your recovery time between sessions just because you're in better shape. It goes a long way. You'll find that, part of the reason super heavyweights take so much longer to recover than lighter guys isn't just the high loads they're moving, it's because they're that much aerobically less fit. Does high intensity cardio hurt your recovery from only if you ball out? Honestly, you can push yourself pretty hard and your lifting will still be good, assuming you're eating a reasonable amount of calories. I think you'll be fine. What do you do for work? I coach. Thankfully, I am able to do that full time right now because my rent is relatively cheap. And how are you so strong but not that big? Lol. Serious question. Ouch. I don't know. I am the strength that I am. I am the size that I am. I don't really have an answer for you, bro. I've always been pretty big for my size, but I'm also 240, which I don't consider overly small. I don't know. Maybe I'd look bigger if I spent the time to do a bunch of curls and lateral raises, but my training is pretty strength focused, so